Hi, how are you? I hope you're well. Thanks for joining me. I have been meaning to do this video for a few days because there's a couple of essences, and I use little essences quite a lot in my kinesiology work. They give me little patterns of things that are going on and messages for the client. And this particular essence, it's called the fig essence. It's from the power of flowers. And it's been coming up a lot for a lot of clients. And when something keeps repeating itself, first of all, I think, is this a message for me? So I looked into that, and of course there was a little message for me, but then it still kept coming up, and I thought, okay, I tested in, and it said, yes, there's a message here for everyone, and it keeps coming up, so let's share it. So the message from the fig flower essence is all about balancing the masculine and feminine. And I did wonder, to be honest, whether I am repeating myself too much. But I thought if the message just keeps coming up, but you can see that the theme is very strong. We must balance our masculine and feminine energy. So that means really taking time to allow this yin energy, this divine feminine energy to come up. So just to explain that a little bit, and I've probably done this quite often, you can skip on a little bit if you've heard it too often, but the yang energy is the masculine energy. And I like using the words yin and yang because we're less likely to go into the masculine and feminine, as in male and female. Sometimes our unconscious bias still requires us to think about masculine energy as the males, and that's not what I'm talking about. This is feminine energy and masculine energy, the same as the yin and the yang. Now, we're all meant to have a lovely balance of yin and yang, but most of us don't, because the yang has dominated for centuries. And our whole society in most of the world has been very yang dominant. So what does yang dominant mean? What we're looking at here is kind of doing too much, right? That's the most basic way I can explain it. I always call it the do, or the more. It's where we find it so difficult to be quiet and still and calm. And that is where the feminine comes in. So the feminine is represented by night, the masculine is day, the feminine is the full moon or the moon. At any stage is the feminine energy because it's softer. And the yang energy is the sun. So you've got the sun versus the moon. You've got day versus night. So the sun, daytime, get up, go to work, do your thing. Right? But then you have to come home and rest and nourish your body, nourish yourself with your connections, with your family, with your rest. It might be nice to come home, take off the work clothes, have a nice shower, put on something comfortable, have a nice meal, sit down with your family and share your news of the day. Connect with one another. So this is all the yin. Now we've had a long weekend here in Sydney. It's been very hot most of the time, but it's a nice time for us to slow down and connect with one another. Hopefully most of you will have spent time with your families and friends over the weekend, and that's all that lovely yin energy. But we need to also slow our mind down. The mind is more yang. I should do it this side. So the yang is more energy, go, thinking. Whereas we need to come into the yin, which is in the heart. So we need to listen to our heart. And that's what a lot of this fig is talking about. More of that balance. So it talks about the balance of the masculine and feminine energy right down to the cellular level. And that means we have habits within the body and within the mind, within the nervous system, within the endocrine system that is in a habit of excessive yang. So again, that go, I must be busy. I know so many clients, and I know myself, I do this too, we always need to be busy in doing something. We won't give ourselves permission to just be quiet and still and take care of ourselves. Have a nice bath, go to bed early, and actually read a book, not on a computer, not on our phone, not on gadgets. We need to really nourish and rest the body. So it also talks about bringing the left and the right hemisphere together. So the right side of the body is the yang side, the left side is the yin. And then you've also got the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, the right side of the brain controlling the left side of the body. And the left side is more big picture, more creative. You see, it's not like right or wrong. We just have to be able to use both. And it's also about getting the equilibrium between both sides of the brain. Using our brain knowledge, but also coming into the wisdom in the heart and using our intuition or our gut instinct. These are the lovely yin things that we need to do. And the fig, so it balances the masculine and feminine, restoring the equilibrium between the left and right hemisphere. And then the third one is restoring a deep wisdom within the body. So this is what I'm saying. The going to the wisdom, the feminine wisdom of the heart and the gut. Think of an example of a mother who just intuitively knows that her child's not well. And she might go to the doctor, and the doctor might have a science theory, but the mother just knows something's still not right, even though the doctor said, look, I think his tummy's fine and maybe he's just a bit nervous. But the mother's instinct just knows to go a bit deeper. She has that deep bond with her child and just uses her intuition and her instinct, and that's very important. So another remedy that came up, or another essence, was called sagebush. And I wanted to bring that in too because it came up as a part of this. And a couple of the words I've written here was sagebush is we're going through a period of accelerating our personal evolution. And for anyone who's been to see me, or if you've been to many of my courses, and I've talked a lot about moving from the 3D into the 5D, where we are escalating our awareness and our consciousness. We're becoming more aware and more conscious on a higher vibration and a higher frequency. And I'm going to be running a workshop in the next week or two. Can't remember the date. I'll probably put a link to that below. It's in my newsletter. For anyone who thinks that they're on my newsletter, if you didn't get it, check my junk. That was a week or two ago. I might put out another little reminder for that workshop. But I really want to go into this balancing the yin and the yang, really receiving and being receptive around our divine feminine, and going into our personal evolution, where we're becoming more emotional, more of the feminine energy, and being more linked into the intuition of our internal knowing. But an interesting little bit that came up with this sagebush as the essence is that it's a remedy for addictions and attachments. And you'll know from my previous videos, we've talked a lot about letting go of the old. In the 9th month, it was about cleaning out, clearing, eliminating, letting go of the old stuff that no longer serves you. And one of the biggest things there is this excessive yang energy of the doing, letting go of that. But it came up here as an addiction and an attachment. So attachment to those cultural norms that we've all been conforming to, and feeling that we need to prove ourselves, we need to do more, because basically we're afraid of other people's judgments. And what we've really got to learn is to let go of that judging and that not accepting ourselves as being good enough. So that's a very common addiction and an attachment to that self-berating, giving ourselves a hard time. Who's good at that? So that was the two essences that came up. There's a few things coming up with this. The theme is very strong. The other thing is the pink perfume, or the pink of any the body oil or the roll-on in the Altera range. So the pink is called tenderness, And it's all about, again, the heart chakra, but it's all about self-love and self-care. So if you think of all that judgment and criticism that we are so prone to, this is turning that around and letting go of that addictive negative thinking, beating ourselves up in our mind, and being kind and gentle, having more compassion for ourselves. The biggest recommendation I can make for you here is slow down. Slow everything right down. Take your time. They always say the two most precious commodities in our modern world is time and money. But you can give yourself time when you prioritize yourself and give yourself that lovely, nurturing, nourishing yin energy, which is very much represented by the pink. So just be more aware and more conscious of your vibration and your energy and your self-talk. Are you being kind to yourself? So I've written here, slow down, quiet the mind, and come into the heart. Come into the balance of love, self-love. And then through self-love, we have more compassion and more love for others. We can be kinder, less judgmental, but more compassion, kindness, and acceptance. All righty. Now, just to wrap it up, I checked for cards, and of course we've got a couple, just two. And again, I think I've done these just recently. This is rebirth. This is a big theme now. We're in the 10th month, and 10 being a 1 and a 0 is very much about a new beginning. In the pillar code, it's the first pillar, it's the pillar of peace, and coming into our own peace and having peace of mind. So going from the mind to the heart. So peace of mind is number 10. But the card here is about, we are going through a major transition and transformation that will result in significant personal growth. By drawing this card, you have entered a period of spiritual awakening and rebirth, where you have the opportunity to align with your higher self and the overarching principles that guide you. This is where you surrender to the changes around you and prepared to be the best that you can be. So as this lovely new energy comes in with all the beautiful sunshine, and the yin energy rising up. So this is the time that we can connect to our deeper wisdom, but also to our higher self, to our spiritual selves. You're being encouraged to trust and believe that the magical future awaits. But first you need to let go of the old in order to experience the new. Take time to reevaluate your core values. Your values are what drive you. And re-examine your life. Then eliminate any superficial foundations that don't align with your higher self and your dreams. This is a time to recognize and rise above the ego-based thoughts and behaviors, for humility and authenticity are the keys to your success. So I thought that was very nice and fitted in very much with the theme. The other one, of course, along the same lines, this is called the Ten of Fire. It's from the Good Tarot. The Ten of Fire is about burning away and releasing the excess. So that's the excess doing and the excess yang. And it's endings to clear the way for new beginnings. It's number 10. And again, this is number 10, the Ten of Fire. You couldn't pick it unless you were muscle testing. The message here is, I may have overcommitted and have taken on too many burdens. In this moment, I do the work of decluttering my life. All that I release will take new form and serve the greater whole. But I no longer need to hold on to it simply because it once seemed to have value for me. I thank it for what it did for me, but say goodbye to the emotions, the relationships, and situations that I release that do not belong in my life anymore. So, how can you clean up your space so that you have more time for you to nourish yourself and your families, usually. I know most of the people who watch here are mostly mothers. Woo, I hit the computer. So, very lovely theme. So just slow down, rest, restore, and allow the rebirth to happen. You might find that some of your old habits actually show up. And if they're really showing up, like old attachments and old judgments, then they are coming up to be revealed in order for them to be healed. So we have to allow them to come up and show you what your old habits, addictions, and attachments are. Again, if you need help with any of that, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help. And allow the new to come in. So just watch out too for any fears that are creeping in. If you see fear being pushed on the mainstream media, on the news and things like that, just turn it off. You don't need that. You do not want fear to block this new, beautiful energy of love, compassion, and self-care. So I hope that lands nicely with you. I hope you take it on, and I hope it brings beautiful benefits to you and your family. So for now, God bless, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.